Hey everybody, remember, it's your responsibility to expect this to be a great day. Today I'm going to touch on a metaphor that we touch on at least twice a year, mostly because it's so simple, so plain, so effective, and just so true. We talk about the metaphor of a rocket as a model of what it takes to be successful at turning an idea into reality, or turning a project into a finished project, or just moving you closer towards any of those many goals that I'm sure you have laid out before you. And one thing about a rocket metaphor is this. When you watch a rocket take off, and we've all seen this on television, right? When all, the explosion that happens and all the smoke and fire and the plume that is created as it takes off, kind of barely moving at first, and then makes its way on out into space. Did you know that a rocket expends over 70% of all of its available fuel just in taking off? Let that sink in for a little bit. A rocket expends almost 70% of its available fuel just in taking off and getting out of Earth's orbit. Out of the pull of gravity. Just to break the pull of gravity, it takes almost all the fuel that it has. Over 70% of the rocket's fuel is used just in breaking the orbit. Now, once it breaks the orbit and it's out in space, it takes very little fuel to change its direction or for it to maintain its momentum or its velocity. Many people say in their own creative ways this very same idea. When you're trying to launch a venture or a business or a project, or when you really want to make something happen, it might be in your interest to think about the rocket metaphor and to try to overdo it in terms of your effort in the beginning stages. To try to realize that most things are affected by their own inertia, their own tendency to remain right where it is. There's a gravity, if you will, holding most things in place. And you have to break that. You have to break that if you want to experience what can happen with your ideas zooming forward. So 70% of your effort expended all at once. That's massive action. We hear about massive action all the time. I've also read that psychologists have done experiments, studies that show that when you look at entrepreneurs or business people or people that are project managers or people that have built the task of getting things done, even the most accomplished people tend to overestimate what they can do in the short term, but those same people underestimate what they can create in the long term over time. And they found this to be consistent across many, many people. So let's combine these two ideas in a way that I think you might find a little bit exciting. So think about that thing you're trying to accomplish, whatever that is. And then think about what you believe is possible. And then realize that you're probably overestimating what you can do in the short term. That might bum you out a little bit. But now realize that you are probably underestimating by a long shot what you can get out of it over the long term. That should excite you, especially if you're a big thinker, because even the big thinkers underestimate what they can get out of it in the long term. And the key, though, is realizing that two things. One, you might be overestimating what you can do in the short term. And two, it might take 70% of all you have to break the gravity of that idea. Hopefully that gave you an insight into a way that you can have your ideas blast off. Expect a great day.